What's going on, guys? I guess it's time we answer some questions, hey? Alright, so we're sitting in the 33 now. Feels kind of weird. It's been like 2 weeks since I've sat in it, let alone driven it, so. This was supposed to happen at about 1,000 subs, but as you can see on this live count, 2,303 subs already. So yeah, big thanks to you guys. Really appreciate all the support. I know I can't say it enough, but yeah, pretty sweet how we've come this far already. So without further ado, let's get some questions answered. Before we get to the question segment, there is one thing I wanted to address. Somebody commented that I'm just doing this for the money. And the way I see that is, what's wrong with that, man? Like, I'm just grateful to be able to experience my passion in the way that I am. And if there's an opportunity to make anything out of it, then I'm gonna take it. But honestly, right now, like, money's just an afterthought. You know, I don't build my car or I don't make videos because I'm after the money. With starting this YouTube channel and starting to make the videos, it's almost unlocked another way for me to experience my passion, which is cars. The thing with that statement that I don't agree with is everybody out there is trying to make it for themselves. You know, whether you're working a full-time job, whether you're going to school, whether you're building a car, whether you're starting a YouTube channel, whatever it is, you're trying to move up. And what I see too often out in society, out in the world, is people are too quick to shoot down other people's aspirations and hopes. We should be encouraging people, inspiring them. If you've made it somewhere and you see someone else trying to get it to where you are, help them, you know? Give them words of advice, give them, because you've been through it all, what it takes to get there, you know, the kind of sacrifices that need to be made and the kind of work that needs to be put in. So no, I'm not just doing it for the money, you know. I'm doing it for myself. And the thing that I've noticed just in the 2 weeks that I've had this channel open is I feel like I can connect with you guys a lot more. So it's a good outlet, you know. Social media is a beautiful thing. Even just right now, like, I'm talking to a camera sitting in my car, but I know the audience is much more than this Sony camera, which is what I use for filming, by the way. A couple people asked. It's a Sony RX100. But anyways, back to the point. Having this YouTube where I'm able to, you know, have an outlet where I can connect with you guys is nice, you know. Alright, so first question, or I guess set of questions, is what is your dream car? And my dream car, well, you know, it's not a Skyline, whether you believe it or not. Skyline is definitely one of them, but if I was to pick any one specific car to take to my grave, it'd probably be a Porsche 911. Any of the 911 series. My dad had this tape recorder. It was like a Porsche tape recorder, and you know, it wasn't a toy by any means, but it was the one toy that I always wanted to play with. Meeting RWB was a pretty life-changing experience for me, man. Like, just his mindset, his vision, it's something that really revered to me, you know. Just his attitude towards life, towards building cars, to just anything. Like, I'm proud to say I've got his signature in my rearview mirror. I got a locals card signed by him as well. So, you know, this is gonna be corny, but every time I look back, it's kind of like Naki-san is there reminding me to keep looking forward. And, you know, maybe I'll get to the Porsche one day, but for now, I guess the Skyline will do. This question is, I'm thinking of getting a GTR R32. How hard is it to hit fast? The best way that I would describe it is it's like you're learning how to drive again. But it only lasts, you know, about 30 minutes. Within the hour, you get the hang of it. You're pretty used to it. Clutch pedals, gas, brake are all the same. Transmission, gearbox is the same, you know, one on the right. The hardest thing that you gotta get used to being on the road, being on the right hand drive before, it just throws your perception off. You'll find yourself, well, for me at least, I found myself driving almost on the middle of the road, just misjudging how much space you have on each side. Different, just because, naturally, it's like trying to do something with your left hand when you're right-handed, or vice versa. That's the best way that I can put it. But I've been driving right-hand drive. This question is, what are your favorite mods to do to a car, aesthetic or performance? If you were to ask me what I would do first to a car, I would do aesthetic things, which is pretty evident with this car. All show, no go. Turbo swap, doing internal, fuel, injectors, ECU, getting a tune, cams, all that stuff is not cheap. What was my first car, and what did I learn to drive manual on? So I've never had an automatic car. All my cars have been manual, and my first car was a 1991 Honda Prelude SR. That was the best car in the world. So I got lots of love for Hondas, don't get me wrong. A lot of people talk negatively about them because they're slow, but if you drive it with purpose and passion, who cares who's faster? If you love what you drive, it doesn't matter what the next guy says about you. So just keep that in mind for those of you guys who are just starting off driving and you want to get to a point where we are, I guess you could say. Just work at it, man. I started off with a beater car too, is $1,500. Don't rush yourselves, man. Enjoy what you have, and cherish the opportunities that you have. This question: are you ever gonna install spacers on your front wheels? Really cool R33. Thank you. And since you asked that, yes, I have these 25mm spacers that I'm hoping to throw on pretty soon. I do have 20mm spacers on there right now, but I'm gonna try these out, see if that extra 5mm makes a difference at all. It will, but whether it's a noticeable difference, I guess we'll just wait and see. This question: how long did it take you to get your car to 80%? And is it still a work in progress? It's always a work in progress, man. 80% could be now, 80% could have been when I put my wide body on. I could be at 40% now. The thing is, don't think of it as finishing something. Once you get to a point and you say you're finished, you're quitting yourself, because sky is the limit and it's never finished. As far as this build goes, we'll see where it goes. If something happens, but I don't like to put a timeline on myself, if that makes any sense. It's been about a year since I started working on this compared to where it was in my backyard. Yeah, I just wouldn't, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm 80% finished, or I'm 95% finished. It's a journey, and wherever it goes, just so long for the ride. If all works out and I was to say what a finished build would be, probably a turbo swap, ECU, injectors, tune. But even then, man, there's always something that can be done. It's never finished, and that's the whole thing with work in progress, is it's never a finished product. Whether it's cars, you out in your personal life, once you reach your dreams, once you reach your goals, that's when it comes time to set new goals for yourself, new aspirations, and the work in progress starts all over again. Work towards what you want. And how much did I pay for my car? And what's the going price for these cars here in Canada? My car, I paid $1,400 for. Now, before you guys go crazy and say, oh my god, those cars are so cheap over there, you gotta remember that it was essentially just a rolling shell. The transmission in it was busted, it had no second gear, needed a new clutch. It was basically a stock rusted shell, but it still had an engine. And I got it off a good buddy of mine, and so I got a pretty good deal on it. As far as how much a 33 goes for here in Canada, I sold my last one last year for $7,500 with just the basic intercooler, exhaust, intake, wheels, coilovers, and it had a bucket seat. And I sold that one for $7,500, and it was a 1990 94. And now this year, you're seeing essentially the same car go for anywhere from 9 to 11,000. So I can tell that the price has jumped up. As far as how much my car is worth, I don't know. I wouldn't put a price on it. So the next question's in regards to insurance. We used to get a lot of questions about insurance, but at the meet that we had a couple weeks ago, we met this guy from the UK, and he was mentioning how he's 27. He can't even get insurance for a right-hand drive or a Skyline. So I guess it's different in parts of the world where you need to reach a certain level of good driving history, I guess. But I mean, here I've been driving Skyline since I was 18. The way it works here is they basically just give you one-way insurance. So the type of car that you drive plays a little bit of a role, but I mean, I've went from Civics to Skylines to Ford Rangers to whatever, and my insurance hasn't really changed much. So I pay anywhere from $1,500 to $1,700 a month or a year. So factor that out, it's roughly about $150-ish a month. This question, would I ever consider buying an R33 GTR? As you can see with the wide body, the wing, the bumper, my whole inspiration for how to make this car look is GTR. But if I was to pick a generation of GTR, it would probably be an R32. It's got that classic 90s JDM look, and it's actually the Skyline that got me into Skylines, first of all. My auntie up north, she married this guy way back when the 15-year import rule was coming into effect. He was an importer, so for their wedding, he actually drove an R32 GTR in gunmetal gray to their wedding as their wedding vehicle. And ever since that day, there's always been a spot for an R32 GTR in my heart. And why did I pick a 33 then? And the reason I went to 33 is I've had R32s in the past, 4 to be specific, and I always had a vision, a plan of how to build an R32. And at the time, R32s were really common, so it was kind of hard to do things to the car to separate myself, to stand out. And that's one of the big things about me, if for those of you that know me, is I like to stand out. I like to stand out from the crowd. I like to be an only one, I guess you could say. But I guess the biggest deciding factor was the fact that R32s were becoming very, very common, and R33s, were kind of overlooked. R33s are considered the ugly child of the Skylines. People, they were going for really cheap. Nobody liked the way they looked, and that was just GTSTs. Their GTRs were very, very rare. And being the kind of person that I am, I jumped to the 33 as an underdog, and my mindset was, I'm gonna make all of you guys like R33s and appreciate them. And I'd like to think that I accomplished my goal. I like the way this car looks. I've never seen another one like it. And just for me, the joy of driving something that's unique, that hasn't been done before, And this question, what is my race, if you don't mind me asking? I'm Filipino, mixed with German and Irish. I was born here in Canada. My parents were both born in the Philippines. Filipino at heart and culture and tradition, but my skin is mixed with German and Irish, so that's why I'm kind of light skinned. I don't really look too Filipino. And now for the number one question that I know everyone has been wondering, everyone has been asking, and even if you don't ask it in the comments, I know everybody's wondering it, is why are my eyes so puffy? And it's not because I smoke weed. It's not any allergies or anything. Basically, the fact of the matter is, we don't know. I've been to multiple doctors. I've had allergy testing, blood testing. And basically, short story short, is they weren't able to pinpoint it to any one specific reason. So they kind of just said, since it's not bothering me, it's not affecting me in any way, that they couldn't really do anything about it. And it's weird. Like, I was born in Edmonton, and it never really, no one really ever noticed it, and it wasn't this bad until we came to Calgary when I was like 9. And then by the time I was like 11, 12, going to junior high and high school, that's when like it really started, it was starting to show that, okay, it's a little off. And yeah, naturally I did get bullied for it, and it is one of the things that I'm kind of insecure about. But at the end of the day, everybody's different. Everybody has their own insecurities, and you just got to learn to live with it, man. Like, it's taught me to just be who I am, regardless of what people think, regardless of what people say. Just be you and be happy. Like, if other people are trying to bring you down, talk negative about you, then it's as simple as cutting them out. If there's no room for that in your life, whether it's, my eyes, person's weight, person's race, what they drive, the kind of mods that someone does to their car, you just, deal with the hands you're dealt kind of thing, It's taught me to appreciate everyone a little bit more. Everybody has their own story, everybody has their own backdrop, and honestly, you never know. And like, I know you guys don't mean any harm intention by asking, what's wrong with Charles's eyes? Why are his eyes so puffy? And yeah, like, they're just like that. And I have been looking into it. There's eyelid surgery that you can get done to kind of lift them up a little bit, but it's expensive. Maybe in the future it's something I can take care of, but I've gotten used to it. I still get a little bit bothered when people ask, but I think the main reason I get bothered is because I don't have an explanation or an answer. So I know as much as you guys do. If any of you guys are doctor experts out there, comment, let me know if what your diagnosis is. That's it for the question and answer. Yeah, thanks for watching. Any questions that you guys have for me, just answer them in the comments, and I'll try my best to answer you guys there.